Welcome to this while listening practice. Today's topic is how solar panels work. Complete the flowchart as you listen and write no more than 2 words for each answer. You can download the exercise sheet from the link in the description. Pause now if you need to get ready. And let's begin.
Welcome back to Academic Listening Hub, the channel where we help you build your academic listening skills through real, meaningful topics. I'm really glad you're here today because we're covering something that I think is genuinely fascinating and increasingly important. Solar panels. You see them everywhere these days. On the roofs of houses, schools, hospitals, even car parks. Governments are investing in them, businesses are installing them, and more families are putting them on their own homes. But here's the thing. Most people who live with solar panels or walk past them every day have very little idea what's actually going on inside them. And that's exactly what we're going to fix today. We're going to walk through the entire process, step by step, from the moment sunlight hits the panel all the way to the moment electricity comes out of your plug socket at home. By the end of this, you'll have a clear picture of how the whole system works. There's also a listening task to go along with today's episode, so make sure you're ready to take notes. Let's get into it. Let's start with the basics. A solar panel is made up of lots of smaller units called photovoltaic cells, or PV cells. These are usually made from a material called silicon. Now, silicon is interesting because it doesn't normally conduct electricity very well, but when light hits it, something changes. When sunlight reaches a PV cell, it arrives as tiny packets of energy called photons. These photons hit the silicon atoms and knock electrons loose. Once those electrons are free, they start moving. And moving electrons are exactly what we call an electric current. The cell is designed to keep those electrons moving in one direction, and that's how electricity is produced. It's really as simple as that. Light goes in, electrons move, electricity comes out. But here's something worth paying attention to, and this is where a lot of people get surprised. The electricity that a PV cell produces is called direct current, DC. Now, what does that actually mean? In direct current, electrons flow in one direction only. Think of it like water moving steadily through a pipe, always going the same way, never reversing. That works perfectly well for certain things. A torch runs on direct current. So does a phone battery or a small portable speaker. Nice and simple. The problem is that most appliances in a typical home don't work that way. Your fridge, your washing machine, your television, none of them run on direct current. They all need something called alternating current, or AC, and alternating current is quite different. Instead of flowing in one direction, the current switches back and forth, very rapidly, many times every second. It's that constant switching that makes it compatible with the kinds of motors and circuits used in most household devices. So we have a mismatch. The panels produce DC. The home needs AC. How do we fix that? That's where the inverter comes in. Every solar power system has one, and its job is really important. The inverter sits between your solar panels and your home's electrical system, and it does one thing. It takes the direct current coming from the panels and converts it into alternating current that your home can actually use. It's doing this constantly, in real time, whenever the panels are generating electricity. Without an inverter, none of it would work. The electricity from your panels would simply be the wrong type, incompatible with almost every device in your home. But once the inverter does its job, that converted AC electricity flows straight into your home's wiring and powers all your appliances, your lights, your TV, your washing machine, your kettle, everything running as normal. Now, solar panels don't always produce the same amount of electricity. Output changes depending on how much sunlight is available, so it goes up and down with the time of day, the season, and the weather. On a bright summer afternoon, a good solar setup can actually produce a lot more electricity than the household needs at that moment. So what happens to the extra? There are two main options. The first is to send it to the national grid, the shared electricity network that connects homes and businesses across the country. When your panels produce more than you're using, that surplus flows out through your meter and into the wider network. In many countries, homeowners actually get paid for this through what are called feed-in tariffs. So solar panels can not only cut your electricity bill, they can also earn you money. The second option is to store the surplus in a home battery. A battery system saves the electricity your panels produce during the day, so you can use it later, in the evening, on cloudy days, or at night, when the panels aren't producing anything at all. A lot of modern solar systems actually combine both approaches. The battery charges up first, and anything left over goes to the grid. So let's go over the whole process one more time, from beginning to end. Sunlight hits the photovoltaic cells. Photons knock electrons loose from the silicon. The moving electrons produce direct current. The inverter converts that direct current into alternating current. The AC electricity powers the home, and any surplus is either stored in a battery for later or exported to the national grid. The whole thing happens in seconds, silently, cleanly, with no fuel and no emissions. It's worth taking a moment to appreciate just how elegant that process is. There are no moving parts, no burning, no combustion, no noise, just light hitting a surface and electricity coming out the other end. That's the kind of engineering that deserves a little more attention than it usually gets. All right, that's the end of today's listening practice. Take a moment now to look over your answers and see how you did. If you missed anything, don't worry. Go back and listen again. That's exactly how this kind of practice works best. If you found today's episode useful, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We cover a wide range of academic topics, all designed to build your listening skills and expand your vocabulary at the same time. Thanks so much for listening to Academic Listening Hub. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
That concludes today's listening session. To stay updated with our next videos, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye for now.